Okay, so this will be the last video. Um, what I've done here is I did an epoxy pour, and that's that 5-minute epoxy, and I mixed it with some yellow paint. And it's just something that I do. You see how it kind of went orange, and I just like it. It gives it an old, cool old effect. But I'm not too sure. I don't know if I've already said that I gave it the this background here. I hit it with the mineral oil. I'm not worried about hitting here because this is going to be moss, grass. But for me, the mushrooms are too much the same color as this background. So when I put a mushroom, say right here, you might have a problem seeing the mushrooms. So what I'm going to do, let's put the other one right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because I don't like this color, I know there's cool wood grain and stuff in there, but that's not really what this piece is about. I'm going to poly shade in here black, and then I'll peterblair flap sand it to get my like high points out, the kind of way things I do. Okay, so it's now the next day. You see I carved a gnome. Sometimes I get a little impatient with the gnomes and I don't concentrate on the nose, and sometimes like this, if you look where my thumb is, it looks like it's a little bit square. That's okay. So I carved this guy. I painted it and I burnt it to make it look old and antiqued, and then I sprayed it with this clear coat here. I love this stuff. I gave it 2 coats, and I also cleared the mushrooms. I did cut the mushrooms down a bit lower. You can see here's a dowel inside the mushroom, like those barbecue skews, and then there's a hole in there. It just sits there. This isn't going to sit up good there. And I did the same thing for these mushrooms too. See, there's a hole. There's a dowel in there with a hole, and I'll hot glue gun those in later. So let's talk about this background now. Now you can see how much better that mushroom sticks out with a darker background. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, oh yeah, the poly shades. What I used was, I'll show you. Okay, this is the poly shade I used. This is Bombay mahogany, but I didn't have black, so I used the darkest brown color I had. I love this stuff because it's like a stain and a protector, a poly shade at the same time, so you can get all different colors of this. And this is made by Minwax Poly Shades. Yep, so once again, it's a stain and a protector at the same time, like a clear coat. So what I'm going to do now with my peterblair flap sander I got ready here, I'm going to go along. You guys can get these in the description below, the metal part there, the mandrel. I'm going to go along now and scuff up inside here to give it some high points. Like I'm going to really focus on these bricks on the door to make them brighter. What you're doing is you're taking the stain away, right? So it'll hit up here. You see up there I signed it, and yes, I gave it a little heart. I don't know if that will sand away or not. I kind of hope it does. But the ladies will like that. You know, you add a heart to your carving, it adds an extra $50 in profit, right? So sometimes you just got to do it. So I'll sand this and make everything brighter. It makes things darker and brighter, right? The pieces, the things that are farther back will stay dark because the sander won't get into it, and the higher pieces will lighten up a bit. Okay, so now you can see how you get the highs and the dark points. I took it outside. Once I was done that, blew it out with my air compressor, then I gave it a touch of this. That's clear. I think this is, what's this, satin. So it's kind of shiny, not shiny. It's not dry yet. So I sanded on the outside here too, because I'm going to spray this with, when this is done, I'm going to give the whole thing a spray with this. Get some different colors. I didn't sand it that great, but I spent about half an hour with the flap sander hitting all these parts and the brain up here. Look, it looks like part of a skull head. Now, lights. These are Christmas lights that you buy at Christmas time. I think there's 10 on here. I just buy these ones too. They were $3, but they're exactly the same as these. Okay. So this one, I don't want it to be a battery powered one. I'm gonna plug this one into the wall for people's convenience. But let me say something and be very clear. Do this at your own discretion, okay? Because I don't want anybody get hurt or catch their house on fire. So don't do what I'm doing if you don't want to. This is like all you need is a 4-watt charger, okay? So basically a 4-watt charger is like a cell phone charger. And I could be incorrect, but I think a cell phone charger works best to convert these battery lights to a plug-in light. Let's see here. Where's those other Christmas lights I had? Yeah, so they're exact same as these, the ones you get at Christmas time. I got like 200 packs of these for Christmas trees next year. So now, another thing too, the crystals. These are quartz crystals. They're quartz tips. They're not the best. They're not like perfectly good, but they're fine for me. I got a whole bag. Look at that bag I got there from my buddy Stu from his buddy's rock store for 50 bucks. Look at the size of it. So now these crystals, where do I want to put the lights and where do I want to put the crystals? I'm going to have to carve a, I know I want to put a crystal right here. Okay, I know that. But now, so now I need to carve a hole there. When this stuff's still wet, it was kind of silly of me to spray it with that stuff. But so I have to be real careful not to get the dust all up in there or let it dry more. Now I have to carve a hole here. But first of all, I'm going to set up all my stuff to make sure it's the right spot where I put the crystal. Does that make sense? I want the crystal to shine here. Do I want to, and then I got to do the wiring on it. Do I want to put a crystal up in the roof here? I'd love to have one up in the roof. But the only thing is, this is kind of me talking out loud to everybody. I got the long screw bits because I don't want to degrade this wood. I don't want to cut a line here and then have a wire thing and you see the hot glue. I want this to be a full visual piece. Somebody can put this on whatever they want to do. So I'm going to have to, if I want to do up in here, have a crystal up in here, I got those long drill bits and I'll have to drill from up under this piece, up under, all the way up through here. And I got to be at the perfect angle because then I got to carve a hole up there and make sure the hole I carve up here connects with that long drill hole I did down there. So do I need one at the top? Do I really need one at the top? Inquiring minds want to know. See that? Oh, illuminates the crystal. Maybe I'll just do it on the bottom. And maybe I'll do two on the bottom. Maybe I'll do one up in here too. It's a lot easier to do up from the bottom than it is up in the top. Okay, so I got the holes carved in here. I did one here, one there, and then one back here. I don't know if this is the crystal that I'm going to use, but there. So there'll be two lights in there. Good enough, because we got a mushroom there, mushroom here, and here, everywhere. Normally, I put lights behind these windows, these epoxy pour windows. But how am I going to do that? I could carve way up underneath there. I could possibly get a drill bit, put a drill bit all the way up there, but then I have to get the wiring in there. I'm not doing it. Not for this one. Sorry about that. Okay, so these are the long drill bits I got. I don't want to get a smaller one because I just don't want to go get it. This is just what I had here. So now I'm going to go like this and screw holes down in there to the bottom for the wires, for the lights, okay? So I'm going to haul that out, and same here. You got to remember, you don't want the wires to show where you can see a side view of it, right? So I got to tuck it way under. Then I got to carve channels under here to hide the wires. So the wires tuck in and I can hot glue it. Look at the rocks in there. I hit that with my chainsaw. Look at that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's full. This thing's full of rocks. What a nightmare this piece has been, but it's been fun. Challenge yourself. Have fun. Okay, so crystal hole, light hole. The drills, it's drilled through. Then it's like, so there's a hole here. A light's going to go up in there. A light's going to go up in there. So number one, the wire is going to come down here. Put that light in there. Wire is going to come there and come off the back and plug into the wall. Okay, so I got 3 lights. It's still hooked up to the battery pack. I think I'm going to have enough room between each light for the wires to fit in. So this big light here is going to have 2 lights in there to make it a bit brighter. And this one's just going to have 1 light. Okay, so I'm going to put the lights in. Okay, so the lights are in the holes. And you see, so this one's the farthest away. It's got a double. It goes to this one, then here, and then it will come out back. Now what I'm going to do is transform this. I'm going to cut this wire and hook it up to, we'll call this a cell phone. See, this one says it's 4 watts. You're not going to be able to see that. But yeah, it's 4 watts. this at a thrift store for like 50 cents. Okay, so I got the crystals glued in. I've decided with the lights to go with the battery pack that that comes with the Christmas lights because, well, I don't want anybody on this channel to try and do electrical wire plug-in. I don't care how many volts or amps it is. I just think this is a safer way to go if you don't know much about wiring. So you can see here, this usually comes with 20 or 40 lights, but I put 3 lights on here. So what I did to that, my buddy Pete Blair taught me these things. I got these on Amazon. I don't know what you would call them, like wire connector things, but you can see that that's how they are. You heat them up with a lighter, and then they got solder in them in the middle there, and it solders everything together. So you can see that's what I did there. I heat them up, then I hit them with little pliers too, just to make sure everything works good. So now also, since I've decided I want to use the battery pack, this one's on a timer. It stays on for 6 hours, turns off for 18 hours, so it will be less on the batteries. I've carved a slot in the bottom here for that battery pack to sit in. So it will, let's just see, there, it goes like that, but it will go in farther. There you go. So now I gotta hot glue the wires into place. Okay, the batteries are installed, the wires are installed. I want to say one thing. You can listen to me or you don't have to listen to me. When you're doing something like this is not a quick 2-hour project. This is my 3rd day working on this piece, probably, I don't know, safe to say 4 hours a day. When you're doing this kind of stuff, it's best to have your wires measured proper, the perfect spaces, the perfect places. Put your lights in there, make sure your lights are working when you got them all hooked up with those little wire connector things. Make sure they're working. Put them up into the spots. Make sure the crystals are lit up good enough. And just take your time. Don't be a spaz. Don't break shit. Basically, long story short is, don't be a Geordie and have to do it 20 times over. Do it proper the first time and take your time. Don't be a Geordie. Now let's get these gnomes and mushrooms into place. Okay, so I got a bunch of these little dowel things cut up, the barbecue skewers. So all I do is I put it in there. Where's that other mushroom there? And then I put the mushroom on to make sure it fits good, fits perfect. Okay, so I'm going to hot glue that in there. See? Boom. Hot glue, and I'll put some extra hot glue around the bottom to make it stick there better. Okay, it's hot glued in there on the dowel. Turn it to where you want it to be. There you go. I hate these stringy things. I hate them. There you go. Sure you guys don't need to see this, but hot glue. Okay. Get it inside the hole. Get your little dowel. I go like this up and down a couple times, get it in the hole. Then I hot dowel inside here and on the bottom, and then I put it on. We'll kind of hold this guy a bit straighter because, well, it's crooked. If it's like that, he'll be lopsided, so we got to hold it there till it dries. Okay, everything's set up, everything's ready to go. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a blast of this stuff first before I set the moss in, just so, you know, I can already get nice color down here and see how far I want to carry the matte moss off the edge. Maybe I want to leave a little bit of this wood here. Maybe I should give it a little bit more sanding first, but I don't really want to sand too much because I don't want to get all in here dusty. So you gotta remember, this gnome home cave thing is like a couple million years old, so it's okay to not be perfect. Fantasy equals not perfect. Perfect. And also this stuff, spraying these crystals will make them a lot clearer too. Look at the colors in there now. Okay, I better get out of this room. All right. Neat colors in this piece. I think the green and orange is going to be like a, because this is like kind of like orange color, everything. It's going to be perfect. So I got this moss here. It's just stuff from the dollar store. So now I'm going to use my hot glue gun. I'm going to go around hot glue. So when the glue's still wet, I'll put the moss on and just kind of get around here and up here and all in there with my fingers and just kind of get her done. So let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Abra cadabra. Here it is, all done. I even sprayed this stuff on the moss too. You can give it a couple more coats, make it more solid so it lasts a lot longer, kind of preserving it. I put some stuff up there and on the roof too. I will give this the whole outline, like up here, more hits of it tomorrow. It's good to let the stuff dry. Put some here and there. So there was a time when I was working on this carving when I didn't like it. I wasn't happy with it when the background was not dark enough. But look at it now. I'm happy with it. Super happy with it. It all came together. I'm not a fan of gluing this moss in, but it needed to be done. So I guess the last thing to do is turn off the lights. Let's get a full 360 of this first. Turn off the lights. I love that hole. Turn off the lights. And see how she looks in the dark. He looks in the dark. Ooh. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I've spent 3 days on this altogether. I'd say safe to say about 12 hours. Yep. I'm glad I put that back crystal in the back. When you use these lights, these crystals with the lights, they do go brighter with the plug-in style when you plug it into the wall than the batteries. And I am going to say that, you know, let's turn this light on. I did try to hook up that plug-in that I showed you earlier, the 4 watts or whatever it was, to the lights. It kept on blowing the lights. Like all the Christmas lights that I have kept on blowing them. So I just said, enough is enough. I shouldn't be showing how to do electrical stuff on my YouTube videos anyways, because I'm not an electrician and I don't know enough. So just use the batteries. So here it is. Just click it. So the middle click is so it goes on for 6 hours, turns off for 18 hours. There it is, everybody. There's some hopefully motivation for you. Let me know in the comments. I love to read the comments. You guys know I try my best to reply to them. I at least show you by giving it a like and a heart that I've seen your comments and I've read them. I'm doing one more of this. It's not going to be, it probably won't have the mushrooms. It's going to be a gnome and it's going to be in a burl and it's going to be a wall hanger. Yep, I got a plan. Jordy has a plan. So thanks again, everybody. And just carve Rob. Can't wait to see your project and hope you carve that throne gnome chair.